Some time ago I showed you one of the best modern full-motion video games that was Her Story, and now I thought it is time for the mass of games existing today, and that is the dominance of mediocre FMV games. The Complex, Late Shift and BLOODSHORE are games by name and in reality more something like interactive movies. So, at certain points the film stops and you have to make a decision. Normally it is 1 out of 2, only a few times you have more choices. First of all, I really like the production value of the games. The basic video quality is very good, the locations fit as well, and the props and costumes look better than expected. Of course, this is not on A movie level and, to be honest, not on B movie level, but better than video sequences in a lot of games prior. The actors are okay normally, some are even good, but those struggle as well with the dialogue as anyone. Although, that can be said, is not their fault, cause the general product's lack of fundamental things in filmmaking, like good writing, storytelling and directing. In The Complex, the story revolves around a laboratory facility where an emergency patient is carrying a certain kind of so-called nanocells. This woman is the only one who got them, and it's said that they can cause bad and good for the future. Of course, that's only some kind of MacGuffin anyway, and the originality of the plot is like nothing you haven't seen before. Mostly much better from the way of surprises and twists, and like with all games here, especially characters. The introduction of the lead roles is not done clearly enough, and the disappearance of the male lead in the first scene was not done in a way that the audience really gets this. The introduction could have been done much better, especially because the normal playing time is about 100 minutes. So there would have been place for a better general introduction of the characters. A lot of decisions you make are obvious. Should you be careful or not? Well, that's not a hard choice, since at least half of the possibilities are more logical or not as stupid as others. You don't have a hard time. And in my first try, after about 95 minutes, I had a good ending. Even if you take another choice, most of the times, it does not really matter. If you want to take care for the male lead in one scene or the other choice, the lab doctor, it's completely pointless. The lab doctor dies anyway. The difference is 20 seconds of a clip that you see, and that does not have any impact on the story at all. And that is the main thing. Most decisions are not really inflicting the outcome. The movie will continue after a short difference the way it would anyway. So what you choose does not really matter. The game advertises 9 endings, but since I already got a good one on the first try, it is very unlikely that I try each and every possibility. Especially because 8 of the 9, as far as I have counted, are only choices to be done in the last minutes of the game. So, playing it again is not much fun. The gameplay mechanics are very limited. Every now and then, sometimes after several minutes, you make a decision. No riddles, no running around, no adventure-like stuff, no minigames, no quick-time events. And then, after waiting all this time, when you finally can make a decision, you have very little time to do it. If you are too slow, what might happen after leaning back for several minutes and suddenly you are forced to react within seconds, the game chooses for you. That happens more than you might expect, cause you sit there and wait, and then out of nothing you have to react in a very limited time frame. It's especially frustrating on these 3 or 4 occasions when you have to read up to 4 possibilities in the same time than 2 before, and when already 2 are even short calculated. Why did they not give us just some more seconds? But again, then the game chooses for you and it is simply moving forward. Since we know that mostly the ending matters, that's okay somehow when you consider that you are going on alright. But totally against the idea of an interactive movie. losing the audience even more. So, in the end, doing nothing would maybe get me to the end as well, I suppose.
Mastermind, they aren't with me.
So how did all the nanocells end up inside you?
Oh, come on. In late shift, you're a student working in a parking lot as a part-time job. Then, one night, you're dragged into a crime plot and have to act along with the gangsters, trying to get your way out or even into a romance with one of the female members. Basically, it's the same as all the other games here, only the basic plot is different. And of course, like all the others, seen very often before and before. The premise itself is not that catchy and the rest of it feels very much forced as well. Of course, again, most choices do not really matter and you are pushed in the pre-made situations anyhow. Besides that, it makes absolutely no sense why some kind of tough crime guys take a hostage with them, even giving that hostage things to do as a main task, and that guy does not take those chances he has to flee, cause where he could, you don't have the possibility to make a choice. For example, like in a big auction where he is alone with a woman in a room with a lot of other people, where he could simply tell everything, even the blood they are planning, cause they have told him things right before and warn everyone. No, he waits until a gangster with a weapon is standing next to him. Makes no sense? Yes, neither for me. And those basic holes in the story, like why is he even there and why do they risk everything with him, make no sense at all. And this would have been so easy to fix. Like, they get to know his address and threaten him, maybe to hurt his family, whatever. You could just make it up instead of, well, yeah, who doesn't want to take part in a crime including the killing of innocent others? As a game, the things you can do are very restricted, like before, and as a movie, Late Shift fails to interest. Independent filmmakers have a lot more freedom to do things than big studios, although they are limited in budget. But Late Shift does not do any experiments, does not try to be clever, experimental, or anything besides a very straight, ordinary plot with no high points going on. Everything turns out to be in the most common thought way you can imagine. Take the first possibility, this is the one they have chosen for the plot. And that is not enough in respect of an interesting movie. Late Shift loses me very fast. Every action feels forced. You cannot escape the basic plot, and since you are only a bystander somehow, this matters more than in the complex, where you are there because of your profession and actively doing something. Since the movie scenes are not skippable even after you finish the whole game, you have to watch everything again if you want to make other choices. And this is a no-go for this kind of genre, letting the player sit down for at least 70 minutes watching things he has already seen before.
Are you ready?
It is now time for a battle royale in BLOODSHORE, where you are one of those meant to be famous internet guys participating in a match to the death. So, this game starts more like a satire with action elements, but very, very soon the satire and action elements are neither that much nor that great. I mean, maybe it wants to be like RoboCop or Starship Troopers with over-the-edge ads and TV persons, but in the end is the most trashy of all the three games, and it's even more a poor Hunger Games or Guns Akimbo clone. And the most boring one as well, since you walk around in the most favorite location of all B-movie filmmakers in the world. That is, the forest nearby, and that is here supposed to be part of an island. And of course, like before, after some minutes of runtime, you make one choice, and again, it does not really matter, except for only a few times. Even to save the possible love interest and get romantically involved with her doesn't change the finale. That will happen the same way no matter what. So in the end, only the scenes at the end matter again. I was not interested in the characters and certainly not in the very basic story without any surprises and smartness, or at least thrilling situations where you enjoy watching the video elements and therefore are more involved. They failed to put in real media critique and to make it more believable, left the action aside most of the times, although the setting demands for it, and again did not create characters that are likable or you would even remember.
His final destination. Tish Tasker
I
and
basically enjoyed the trashiness of some scenes and that it does not feel that forced like in Late Shift.
$1 million coming soon.
After all three games are, well, if you know one, you know them all, unfortunately. And all three fail to get the player invested by good writing, good characters, better dialogue, time for characters, time for more story instead of, here are the good ones, these are the bad ones, that's it. All games sell around $3 in sale, which is absolutely okay, but about $15 normally, and so will have to scope with the Blu-ray of a normal film. Looking onto it in that way, I can only recommend any of those games on sale, and if you really like the experience of an interactive movie with an overall runtime of about 95 minutes, that is not to be seen again, and where the story or the characters do not really touch you, and most of the time feels like watching stiff characters. If I had to pick one of them, I would go for The Complex, for the atmosphere is the most thrilling and there are some funny endings that are even over the top, like a more bloody shootout that doesn't fit the serious tone of the rest and therefore is very funny, a little bit trash-like. Then it's BLOODSHORE for me for the trashiness overall and Late Shift on the last place, cause it simply felt so forced.
Pass me different oxygen and a couple of cable ties.